Welcome to another edition of Fantasy Basketball Weekly. I'm Amber Wilson, and joining me is senior fantasy writer Jamey Eisenberg. And Jamey, there was a big game involving a New York team yesterday, and I'm not talking about the Giants. I'm talking about the Knicks. They come in, they beat Detroit. Big time.
Yes.
Big time. And Zach Randolph, huge reason why. He doesn't do much Friday. He comes out Sunday. Big game.
Yes, Amber, very big game for Zach Randolph, and I think that's a big key for the Knicks is when everybody's right for New York, not that they're going to win an NBA championship, but from a fantasy perspective, you have several key players who can really help your fantasy team, and Zach Randolph is the biggest one. You saw what he did against Toronto when he was arguing with Isaiah Thomas. Didn't play much, only 10 minutes, no points, 1 rebound, 2 assists. So it was a very bad game for him against the Raptors. He comes back. Obviously, things are smoothed out for whatever reason against Detroit, and a big game in 31 minutes, has 25 points, 8 rebounds, 3 assists. So big key for him is obviously getting on the court and being able to work with Eddie Curry. So that's a big part of how the Knicks are going to operate. Another thing, though, Amber, to keep an eye on with the Knicks, Stephon Marbury missed the game against the Pistons. He's going to probably be another one of these lingering situations. So if you still have time to set your lineup, I think you want to sit Stephon Marbury. And if Nate Robinson is out there, free agent guard, playing really well off the bench for the Knicks, you might want to consider adding him at this point.
All right, so Marbury was out. We have 2 guys coming back, though. Kevin Martin on the Kings, Luol Deng for the Bulls. Big returns for both these guys.
Very big returns. Martin comes back from the groin injury. He missed 17 games, came back and scored 25 points with 2 rebounds. He's a great scorer, going to continue to put up a lot of points going forward, even when Ron Artest returns for the Kings, even when Mike Bibby comes back for the Kings, which could happen on Wednesday. He's going to come back from his thumb injury. So I still think you start Kevin Martin, and as long as he's able to put up points like this, which he should, you're definitely going to get a lot of production out of him. Luol Deng missed 3 games with the Achilles tendonitis. Big return against Atlanta, and I think Luol Deng is just one of those forwards. The Bulls are struggling, as we see with Joakim Noah missing some time because of some disciplinary reasons. You know, it's never a good idea to argue with your coach. Joakim Noah is going to be out, but that's really not going to have an impact on Luol Deng. He's going to maybe still continue to come off the bench because they're going to continue to try to work themselves out of this slump. So Andres Nocioni may continue to start. Joe Smith may continue to get a lot of time, but Luol Deng, one of those great players, you're going to want to definitely put him in your lineup.
All right, so Deng Martin, not the only guy is back. There's 3 other guys that should be on your fantasy radars by now, if they're not already. Randy Foye, Chris Wilcox, and Chris Webber.
Yes, Randy Foye is finally starting to practice again for the Timberwolves. Once he returns to game action, I think it's going to still be a couple of weeks, so you're not going to want to start Randy Foye, but if he's out there on your free agent wire, you definitely want to pick him up. Sebastian Telfair is going to lose a lot of production. So is Marko Jaric. So both those guys are going to take a backseat once Foye returns because he was expected to be the point guard for the Timberwolves. Chris Wilcox missed 5 games with a finger injury. Looks like everything is back in place, so he's going to continue to start. So it could affect Nick Collison and Kurt Thomas, but I still think you start Collison. Thomas is going to be sort of iffy, but Wilcox is definitely a good guy, a double-double type of player you want to get in your lineup. And then Chris Webber, Amber, is really the interesting guy. He told a Sacramento TV station that he's going to come back in 2 weeks. Expected to choose between 3 teams. Obviously, the leader is going to be the Detroit Pistons because he played with them last year. He's a Michigan native, so I think you'll see Webber back with the Pistons sometime soon.
All right. What else do you have for us? Anything else?
Well, of course, Amber. We always have Andrew Bynum, you want to keep an eye on what happens with his MRI from his knee injury on Sunday against Memphis. Left the game with a left knee scare. Hopefully he's not out because he's been great this year, one of the best breakout players that we've seen, certainly a very top fantasy center. So hopefully Bynum's not out for too long. You know, the safe bet is obviously to put him on your bench when you're in your fantasy lineup if you still have time again to set your lineup this week. Another guy that's coming back potentially, hopefully soon, is Tracy McGrady. You know, the Rockets have pushed him back to an expected return Thursday against the San Antonio Spurs. So hopefully we'll see Tracy McGrady back on the court. And then as we mentioned, Mike Bibby coming back Wednesday from the thumb injury, and Shaquille O'Neal out for the last week with a hip injury. Hopefully he's back on Wednesday, as the Heat have said, against the Bulls.
All these injuries. Always talk about every week. Thanks for all of your helpful insight, Jamey. That'll do us for us now. Keep your mouths right here at CBSSports.com for everything you need to know in the world of sports. If you missed anything here today, stop, refresh, and rewatch. For Jamey Eisenberg, I'm Amber Wilson. Have a great week, guys.